Hey everyone, and welcome back. We have been sewing away on all sorts of new projects this summer, and it may surprise you to learn that we have not only been using a brand new sewing machine to do so, but a brand new brand. We get asked all the time for recommendations for entry or mid-level sewing machines, and so we are really gung-ho to finally have one that we are actually excited about. This video is our review of the Bernette 37, and y'all, I am dead serious. We were supposed to try it out for a week before actually upgrading to the higher end model, but we haven't. We have just not stopped using it the entire summer. And I don't know why we would. It's very, very easy to use. It's just a solid little beast. It has actually replaced my own personal machine that I've been using for 6 years. And I know eventually we are going to upgrade and we are going to talk about some other machines in the Bernette line, but for now, I really want to share with you guys why this bad boy just impressed us so darn much, who it works best with, and where you can find one of your own. So the price of this is honestly a big reason why I am impressed. This level of stitch quality for sub $500 was not really something that I expected. You know, I expect good, some cool quality of life features, but nothing mind-blowing. You know, in the world of sewing machines, 500 is still somewhere around that entry mid-level range. And I don't know, it kind of stinks when people ask us for recommendations and I have to say, oh, this machine costs $1,000 or this machine costs so much money, if you're not really ready for that. If you're getting into cosplay or getting into sewing, I don't think you need to jump to the best of the best with honors quality machine out there. You want something that you can learn on that doesn't necessarily have all the bells and the whistles because you don't know which bells and whistles you actually want. Maybe you use knits all the time and so you need a certain machine that's better with handling that. Or I don't know, maybe you do actually want to sew. But you know, for most hobbyists out there, I really do think that the 37 is the kind of machine that it's great for a lot of people and it's not going to fall apart after 2 years the way that a lot of really, really inexpensive machines might. For me though, this is absolutely wild quality for an under $500 machine. Yeah, it could have more bells and whistles, it could have a knee lift, which I love, it could have a better graphic display, but for $500, you are getting such a good stitch quality that kind of stuff is really second for us. I know there's other machines out there that advertise, ooh, I can sew through leather, or ooh, I can sew through 5 layers of denim, but like, I'm never gonna do that. I don't care. What I want is I want a machine that's gonna put out really consistent, stable stitch quality, no matter what weirdo fabrics I'm putting through it. So for us, that's silks, that's cottons, that's chiffons, that's stretch knits, that's all the good, yummy, horrible cosplay fabrics that we use all the time, and I want it to just feel solid while I'm putting it through it, you know? Like the old machine that I used to use, and I really liked it quite a lot, Scott actually hated sewing on it because she felt like the stitch quality and like the strength of the foot wasn't really there. Whereas when we get onto the Bernette 37, yeah, it's not a Bernina and it's not a super expensive machine, but it just feels really solid with those stitches in a way that I would expect from a much higher end machine. You know, it just feels like the foot is really gripping my fabric and it feels so stable while I'm putting it through it. And it's just really nice feeling to sew on as a result. And you know, that's kind of the quality that you're getting from anything in the Bernette line. That's what I really like about this brand, is you don't have to pay a lot of money to expect that level of quality.
So we use this machine to sew the entirety of our recent Loki project, including all of the taffeta, silk, and cotton, but how's it stack up against those finickier cosplay fabrics? For this test, we used some slippery thin fabrics, organza and chiffon, a stretch neoprene, a solid stretch knit, and a super stretchy spandex. We also left the tension on default for all of these tests. You know, obviously you can tighten or loosen the stitch, but this is one thing we really like about this machine for newer sewers. It is very easy to use right out of the box, no adjustments necessary. I also ran all these fabrics through the machine willy-nilly with no special walking foot, no real effort to grip the fabrics or force it to sew straight. I want to see what it is capable of with no guidance whatsoever. What we got was perfect stitching on the non-stretchy sheer organza and a really high-quality zigzag on the stretched neoprene, which still stretches great after being sewn. All of our other stitching was good. No puckering, no tangling, but there's some important notes. What we found was that solid, grippy foot can kind of be overzealous when it comes to delicate stretch fabrics. these fabrics can and will warp if you are not guiding your piece on a straight line. Our sheer organza looks really good, but if you notice, there is this very slight warp so that it no longer lays extremely flat without pressing. You know, maybe this is nitpicky, but I mean, I think it's worth pointing out. With the knit, this looks really great when laid open, really nice stitch quality, but again, we've got a very slight warp. You can see this very slight curve to our stitch line from where the foot pulled a little too hard on the fabric. This was even more apparent with the stretchy spandex. Both fabrics still stretch beautifully, and we don't have any nasty thread tension issues. But the more stretchy your fabric is, the more you will need to be sure to guide your piece or even use a piece of stabilizer to avoid pulling. The 37 definitely works best with non-stretchy materials if you're not going to baby it. I also want to point out our all-time favorite feature on this machine. There's several little quality of life considerations that we really like, the biggest of which is the decision to put the foot lever on the inside of the machine. This may not seem like much, but Scone flipped out when she realized that she could flip the foot down without lifting her hands from positioning the fabric. It is just so convenient. Props to Bernette. On the flip side, I do want to talk about the biggest downside of the machine, which is the decorative stitches. If you are the kind of person who loves your decorative stitches and regularly uses these, this is not the machine for you. There are only 50 built-in stitches, period. That's it. You get significantly more in the 38, but this is probably also why the 37 comes with a pretty bare bones display.
Truly, the only complaint I have about this machine is I find it kind of confusing to switch the stitches. I don't like how it doesn't actually physically show you the shape of the stitch. You kind of have to consult the manual, or you can actually take the little sticker out and put it on the side of your machine, which I at first did not realize that we had, so I'm just like sitting there trying to figure out which one is the zigzag, which one is the top stitch. But if you're the kind of person who doesn't mind spending a few bucks more to get more stitches and also a display that is more than just a number, we also had the opportunity to take a peek at the 38s at Dragoncon last weekend. It does put you above the $500 price point though, so it's kind of a question of whether the ease of life with the stitches or the cost is more important for you personally. And that about sums it up for our very first review of the Bernette line. I love this machine a lot. I know we're going to be reviewing a couple more, but you know, as the first one out of the gate, dang, this is a really good start. I'll have some more information down in the bottom of the description for where you can find this machine. We've also partnered up with a really cool local dealer called Pintuck Purl. They're local to us personally, but anyone can actually purchase these machines from them. We've got some really cool stuff coming up with them, including workshops, classes, maybe even some feet bundles, and also, when there's any sales, I will mention them below for y'all and also in our stories. So be sure to follow along with us to see any of that good stuff coming up, and we'll see you soon.